Please settle in now. Our service is about to begin. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Jersey Shore, a welcoming and inclusive faith community. Thank you for joining us. We who bring a teaching of hope, we who bring a saving message, who welcome all in our doors, the joyful, the heartbroken, the atheists and Christians, Muslims and Jews, straight and gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, transgender, all who are searching, seeking, looking for more meaning, more service, more love, all of us gathered here together. My name is Steve McGahee, and I am your worship associate this morning. I'm a member of the congregation. I currently am a member of the men's group and occasionally on the Buddhist Sangha. Our worship service today is led by Theresa McReynolds. Theresa is an ordained New Thought Christian minister, as well as a pagan high priestess and a chiropractor who works in the energy healing profession. She has been a grateful member of this community for many years. Video of today's service will be available on our website and Facebook page later today. If you care to tweet during today's service, you can use the hashtag #UUCSJS. If you are hard of hearing, closed captioning of the whole service is available on the YouTube recording that will be posted this afternoon. If you are joining from a computer or smartphone, you are encouraged to type any joys or concerns in the chat box area on your screen. In most platforms, it can be accessed by a chat icon either at the top or bottom of the page, and the chat section will open where you can leave a comment and see what others have said. Please remember that this video will be on the internet, so do not share information that is best kept private. Welcome to worship.
There are 100 billion snowflakes swirling in the cosmic storm, and each one is a galaxy, a billion stars or more, and each star is a million Earths, a giant fiery sun, high up in some sky, maybe shining on someone. Deep inside a snowflake I am floating quietly. I am infinitesimal, impossible to see. Sitting in my tiny kitchen, in my tiny home, staring out my window at a universe of snow. But my soul is so much bigger than the very tiny me. Reaches out into the snowstorm like a net into the sea. Out to all the lovely places where my body cannot go. I touch that beauty and embrace it in the bosom of my soul. And so brief and fleeting is this tiny life of mine, like a single quarter note in the march of time. But my soul is like the music, it goes back to ancient days, back before it wore a human face, long before it bore my name. 'cause my soul is so much older than the evanescent me. It can describe the dawn of time like a childhood memory. It is a spark that was begotten of the darkness long ago. What my body has forgotten, I remember in my soul. So we live this life together, my giant soul and tiny me, one resembling forever, one like smoke upon the breeze, one the deep abiding ocean, one a sudden flashing wave, and counting galaxies like snowflakes, I would swear we were the same. Oh, my soul belongs to beauty, takes me up to lofty heights, teaches sacred stories to me, sanctifies my tiny life, lays a bridge across the ages, melts the boundaries of my bones, paints a bold eternal face on this passing moment. Oh, my soul.
Welcome into this place of healing. Welcome into this place of challenge and of growth. Welcome into this place of imperfection and aspiration. You are whole in your brokenness. You are holy in your shame. You are wholly loved as you are, always. We join our voices in a holy communion of mind and heart, dedicated to the promises that bind us in compassion, one with another. In this light, in this hour, we light the flame that signals our intention to find the sacred in every living thing. Please join us in singing along to our gathering hymn, One More Step.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone will say one more word. One more prayer, we will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. One more song, we will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
During this next musical interlude, we invite you to write your joys and sorrows in the chat portion of your Zoom screen. The icon will either be on the top or bottom of your screen, and we will allow you to enter text, into the panel where others can see it. At the end of the musical interlude, I will read what you would share with the congregation gathered here today. Please remember that a recording of today's service will be available on the internet. So as a reminder, please do not share things that ought not to be posted on the internet. I will now read what joys and sorrows you would share with this community. From Kit Marlowe, my youngest grandson took his first steps on Tuesday. From Tara and Yvette, joy that Steve is helping with the service. Thank you to all who make, from Richard, says, thank you to all who make this possible each week. It is a blessing and joy. From Geraldine, it says prayers for all those in northern Colorado affected by the wildfires. From Tara, she also has a joy that her dad is doing the service. From Tracy, her school is closed for 2 weeks because of a corona outbreak. I had been feeling anxious. She had said she's been feeling anxious teaching when there were multiple positive cases. So now she's feeling safer at home. Let us be in the spirit of prayer. We pray for those who are apart from us, whether by distance, time, or conflict unresolved. We pray for those who thirst, whether for water, dignity, or justice. And we pray for our small, blue, fragile planet. Amen.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within,
We now take a moment to give and receive the morning offering. That looks and feels a little different when we're separated by distance, and instead of placing cash or check in the basket, there are different ways to exercise your generosity practice. You can send a check to our P.O. box or arrange for regular payments to be sent through your bank. I'm putting in the chat a link to our website and also our P.O. box number. The link will take you to the donate page on our website and allow you to make an online donation. Each congregation, each Unitarian Universalist congregation is self-supporting, and 80% of the funds to support all that we do comes from the contributions of our members and friends. Thank you to all of you who faithfully send in your donations, and a gift at any level is appreciated, and no matter how those gifts are offered, they are always most gratefully received. Thank you.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Today's reading is One More Tomorrow by Edgar A. Guest. Is anybody happier because you passed this way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to them today? The day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friends who came along, or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure, and simple as you rushed along the way? Or is someone slightly grateful for a deed you did today? Can you say tonight in parting with the day that's slipping fast that you helped a single person of the many you have passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Does a person whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today?
Hi, and good morning. I'm so grateful to be here today. It's been a while since I've seen some of you, and I was really glad to be asked to speak. Traditionally, I'm asked to speak this time of year because I'm known as a Wiccan, pagan, an earth-based religion person who loves to celebrate the earth in all her majesty and mystery. I love doing rituals and ceremony. As some of you know, I usually do a spiral dance in October, which will not happen this year. And Halloween is a very important time in the Wiccan tradition. It is our high holiday and in our new year. It is the time when we celebrate our ancestors and our beloved dead. We tell their stories. We keep their memories alive. We eat their favorite foods. We share with our children and our grandchildren, their uncles and aunts and grandparents that have passed. And then on November 1st, we celebrate our new year and the turning of the wheel and the beginning. So in the most earth-based faiths, the whole world is in a circle. So the ending is also the beginning, and the circle just keeps on turning. But today, I want to speak about something a little bit different. I listened to Michelle Obama speak at the Democratic National Convention, and she used the word empathy. And this has been on my mind and in my heart for a while now. I just keep thinking of that word, empathy. As some of you know, I consider myself a spiritual person. I believe in a higher power. I believe that there's an energy force and that there is a power greater than me. I love the words purported to have been spoken by Jesus and Buddha. I've studied many, many different faiths over the years, and I've learned so much from every one of them. And the last 4 years, my faith has been sorely tested. How do I, a person who believes that everything happens for me, not to me, who believes in the knowing that everything is perfect and happening as it should, how do I keep compassion in my life during this time? When I was listening to Michelle Obama, she said that empathy was the ability to walk in someone else's shoes, to know that someone else's experience has value, and that we can then say, I understand, I've been there too. And she said, how does that value and thought, how does that go for people who believe different from me? How do I have compassion for and empathy for people who believe different from me? Yes, I can spend time saying, I understand, I get it, I've been there. But I have trouble sometimes really trying to do that. I blocked many people on my Facebook, including some family members, because I've not wanted to hear what they've had to say because their beliefs are so different from mine. I've been an activist for most of my life. I've marched for civil rights, for women's rights, for the women's right to choose, Vietnam, abused women, war in Iran, and now once again, for empathy in the world. I remember the words of Mother Teresa. She said when she was asked to march against the war, and she said that she would not march against a war, but would march for peace. After I heard Michelle Obama speak, I decided to do some research, and I looked up the word empathy. And as I was doing that, I kept getting the word compassion, and I thought, how is compassion different than empathy? Empathy is being able to identify and feel what the other person is feeling. Empathy says, I've walked in your shoes. I may not totally get 100% where you are, but I feel it, and I can see your pain and your suffering, and I can identify with that. Compassion is the awareness of a deep connection between us and all living things. Compassion is taking that understanding, that knowing, and that empathy, and then putting it into action. Empathy is saying, I feel you, I get you. And compassion is saying, and now I will do something about it. Compassion is Mother Teresa going into the streets, caring for the homeless. It is the doctors and the nurses and the shopkeepers who put their lives on the line for us during this COVID pandemic. It is the people who march for Black Lives Matter, knowing that they may be gassed and maybe even be killed. The people in Oregon and Pennsylvania that went through horrific experiences as they protested and marched for their brothers and sisters to have rights. As a child in Catholic school, we were taught about the priests and the nuns who went into the leper colonies. At that time, they didn't have a cure for it. And they would go in and they would take care of these people who were so disenfranchised and disgraced and shamed and put out into the desert to die, knowing that they probably would get leprosy and they would die this horrible death. And I think, how do people do that? How do they come to that? How do they get to that place where they're willing to sacrifice their life to care for one another? And how does that fit into my picture of spirituality? You know, I hear so often that love is the answer. I remember from my younger days, the Beatles song, "Love is all there is." Love, what does that mean? What does that even mean? Love is the answer. How does love affect what's going on for all of us right now? I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes I have compassionate exhaustion, like just so tired of marching and protesting and going on. And it's been disheartening at times to keep up the hope and the faith while everything around us feels in this deep polarity of fear and hatred and anger. I did some marches this summer, and one was on the boardwalk in Wildwood, and I was towards the back of the march. And there were people on bicycles that were riding behind us, just shouting horrible, angry things that just made me feel so bad inside. I thought, you don't even know me and you're saying these horrible things. I went to another protest not too long ago over here in Smithville and Galloway, and the blue side were on one side and the red side were on the other side. And they were just yelling. This little 12-year-old boy, I can still see its face. He was cursing and screaming, and his father was standing right there with him. And I thought, I saw their faces so angry and red and mean. It feels so mean. And I thought, how do I put this? How do I put this into perspective for myself? How do I keep my faith while this is happening? Well, I was researching compassion. I listened to many TED Talks and many different things on YouTube. And one of the things I came across was that Martin Luther King, the night before he died, the night before he was killed, he gave a speech. And he talked about the Good Samaritan. And that seems to be the Christian way of talking about compassion. But he said that he and his wife went on a trip to Jerusalem. And they traveled the road, the Jericho road, that this story from the Bible was supposed to happen on. I'm sure most of you know it, that this businessman was attacked by thieves and beaten up and left for dead. And a priest walked by him and kept on going. And then a Levite came by and saw him and kept on going. And then another businessman, a Samaritan, came by and picked him up and put him in his cart and took him to an inn to be cared for. And Martin said in his talk that he and his wife were traveling this road, and he said it was a long and winding, twisting road. And he said it was as dangerous today as it was back in the time of the Bible when the story was written. And he said there were many, many places where someone could be attacked, where a thief could come out and get you and attack you. So he was trying to imagine what it must have been like during that time when this story takes place. And he said he imagines that the priest came by, or the rabbi came by and said, oh my gosh, if I go and help this person, what will happen to me? Maybe those thieves are still around. Maybe they're just waiting for me to go help this guy, and then they're gonna come out and get me too. I better keep on going. So he left because of fear. And then the Levite came, and he imagined that he was thinking, well, maybe he's faking it. Maybe he's not really hurt. And if I go over there and try to help him, he'll just jump up and get me and steal and take all my goods and rob me. I better just keep on going. And then he said the Samaritan came by, and he said, not what will happen to me if I help this person, but what will happen to me if I do not help this person? What will that say about me? Who will I become if I do not help this person? And he said he didn't only just put this person in the cart and take him to the inn, but he left money for him to be cared for. And he said, please care for him. And if it costs more than this amount I'm giving you, I will be back in a month and I will give you the difference. So he took it a step further. He didn't just say, hey, let me take you. He said, here's the money. Here, I will care for you. Care for this person. Make sure he's okay. What will happen to me if I do not speak out? What will I become if I do not stand up for what I believe in? I listened to a TED talk by this woman who's, I can't remember her name, but she is an activist for women and girls' rights, and she travels all over the world. And her passport has all kinds of stamps in it. And she says she spends a lot of time going through customs at airports. And every time she goes through customs, she would get stopped and her bags would get searched. So she was telling this story to a friend, and she was saying, I don't understand it. I don't carry very much with me because I'm always traveling. I only have a small suitcase, but I always get stopped. And the friend said to her, well, the next time that happens, as you're coming up to the gate, start thinking inside of yourself, I love you, I love you, I love you, to the person who is the guard there. So she did that. And lo and behold, she didn't get stopped and her bags didn't get looked into. And she said it's ever since then, it's never happened again. So I think, wow, what would happen if I'm standing in that protest line and I was thinking to the people across the road, I love you, I love you. If I had that feeling inside of my heart, how would it shift anything? How would it shift anything? I don't know if it will or won't, but that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start doing, because I know that everything begins with me. And as long as I have hate and anger and rage inside of me, you know, I think of the song that we came into the service today too. It says, we're singing for our lives. I feel like I'm singing for my life as a woman, for my grandchildren's lives who are Black, for the earth that I love so much, that I'm singing for their lives. And that it's important as a spiritual person to stand up and do this. I listened to a Buddhist monk in one of the talks, and this man was interviewing him, and he was saying, how do you put into perspective being a monk and a Buddhist and protesting, you know, for all these things, for the environment, for pro-choice, for all this stuff? And this wonderful man turned around with this big smile to the camera, and he said, I totally 100% support activism. I totally 100% believe that we need to speak out for the earth, that we need to speak out for our brothers and sisters of color, that we need to speak out for women and for women's rights and for women's right to choose. We need to speak out and to say what we have to say. It's so important for us to be heard. But he said, what is our intention? Why am I doing this? Am I speaking out because I want to win? Am I speaking out because I want to change your mind? Am I speaking out because I'm angry with you, that I'm frustrated and I want you to get it? I want you to get my way of thinking and feeling. What is my intention? How do I change the words protesting against to protesting for? Will I march because I love, because I have Black grandchildren and I love them? Because I'm aware of the deep connection between myself and all living things? Are we truly all one here? He said, when we're marching, when we're talking, when we're speaking, be aware of the intention. Be aware of what of holding the love for. I am marching and walking because I love the earth. I am marching and walking because I love my grandchildren. I am marching and walking because I love women, and women's have the right to choose what they do with their bodies. I am marching for love, for the change that I believe, and the empathy and the compassion. In the words of Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings, he says, some people believe that it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I have found that it is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps darkness at bay. The small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps darkness at bay. All of the small acts of kindness and love. The servers at the ShopRite, the doctors and the nurses in the hospital, the protesters that are willing to stand up People that are not only willing to die, but just willing to speak out, to say, that is not okay with me. I will not tolerate that. You have the right to believe what you want, but I will not tolerate it, hearing it. You cannot speak it to me. I heard this thing came by on Facebook where there was a ship and this man, everybody had a cabin that was dedicated to them. It was their cabin while they were doing this journey. And one of the men in the ship in its cabin started drilling a hole in the bottom of the floor of the cabin. And everybody rushed to his cabin and said, what are you doing? You're going to sink our whole ship. How can you do that? And he said, it's my right. It's my cabin. I have a right to drill a hole in the bottom of this floor. You know, I don't believe that. Are we going to sink the whole ship because I have a right, my rights to be who I am? One of the most courageous and compassionate, loving acts of compassion that we can all do right now, our small everyday deed that says, because I love you, because I care for you. Our act of kindness is to wear our masks, to put them on, to show that we care for one another, that we are compassionate, loving people. Thank you.
Thank you, Theresa. Our closing words today are by Glenn Hall. If you place kindness and compassion at the heart of what you do, you will create a ripple effect that will benefit the individual and yourself in equal measure. Let's read the words together for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We have some announcements this morning. Reverend Dawn is available for pastoral care appointments Wednesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Another slideshow opportunity. As we enter the winter holiday season and next month's worship theme of healing, we would like you to send in photos of things you are thankful for. Look around you, look into your heart, and snap a photo. Then send it to the UUCSJS admin email address. No people plays in the photos, only places, things, or ideas. Please send them in by November 4th. The UUCSJS will hold a post-election candlelight vigil of music and healing outside 6 p.m. on November 4th at our UU Center in Galloway. The vigil will be outside and appropriate safety protocols will be in effect. The specifics are still being worked out, so watch the midweek announcements and the website for details. If you would like to have a Thanksgiving meal delivered to you at home because you are not able to gather with family or friends this year, please get in touch with Theresa McReynolds to sign up. Theresa is looking for a couple volunteers to help cook and deliver some of the meals on Thanksgiving Day. Families are invited to gather in the main room here on Zoom following coffee hour, 11:30 a.m. To view this week's episode of RE on TV together. So after the coffee hour today at 11:30, okay. Please take the opportunity to keep virtually connected. Events this week, October 25th to November 1st, Heartfulness Meditation, Adult RE, Religious Education. This, I believe, exploring and claiming your own theology. There's a maker space and also the Buddhist Sangha. If you need to schedule a meeting or event, please reach out to the admin at UUCSJS admin email address for use of the Zoom room to be added to the calendar. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting today. Please stay and socialize in our online social time right after the service so that we can get to know each other better. Now let us share in a moment of silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.